Welcome to the deep dive. Sometimes the best insights, they don't come from dense books, but just from listening to someone share their story.
Absolutely. And today we're doing just that.
Yeah, we're diving into Nguyen Lom Town Tem's world. She's Gen Z, juggling, being a student, an actress, a content creator, quite a lot.
And our way in is this really interesting YouTube interview from the etc. It's not standard at all.
Right, because she does a tarot card reading during it, and it just opens up the conversation.
Exactly. The cards act like prompts, getting her to reflect on, well, all sorts of things. Very personal stuff.
So our mission here is basically to pull out the key lessons from her journey, how she handles challenges, balances passions, grows as a person.
Think of it as a shortcut, maybe, to understanding her viewpoint.
And hopefully you'll find something in there that clicks with your own experiences too. Okay, let's get into it.
Sounds good.
So personality-wise, the first card up was the Empress. Strength, right?
Yeah, suggests a kind of core strength. And that feels really relevant when you hear her talk about her past.
She's very open about these periods of really negative emotions back in secondary school.
And she's careful to say, it wasn't a clinical diagnosis of depression,
Right.
but it was absolutely a real struggle for her. Feelings of loneliness, battling that inner negative voice.
Fueled by problems with peers,
Yeah.
even cyberbullying, which is just awful.
Really awful. It's quite striking how candid she is, isn't it? About being in such a dark place.
Yeah, she even mentioned a point where she thought she might, well, be done.
But what stands out is how she describes getting through it.
That inner strength she talks about. Newly uck.
Exactly. That and remembering she could actually help herself. It's about resilience, not about never falling down.
Totally. It's how you get back up.
Yeah.
And she seems to have reframed those hard times as sources of strength now. Maybe, for you listening, think about your own challenges. What did you actually learn?
That's a great point. And this inner strength, it's not like she presents it as something she was just born with.
No, she connects it directly to experience.
All right. She thinks being seen as mature for her age comes from actually facing and overcoming those big difficulties, these somas, these negative experiences. They can build resilience.
Like stressing a muscle to make it stronger.
Sort of, yeah. You learn coping mechanisms through the struggle.
And those struggles definitely had real-world consequences then, like her grades dropping.
Especially in ninth grade, which is such a crucial year with exams and everything.
You can imagine the disappointment, feeling like you're falling behind when everyone else is so focused on academics.
But the key thing is, she got through it. She might not have aced her exams that year.
But surviving that period emotionally, that was the real win.
She sees that now, yeah, as a major achievement in itself. Sometimes just getting through is the victory.
Absolutely. And it seems like that whole experience really informs how she handles negative self-talk now.
Which she admits is still a thing for her. Overthinking, comparing herself to others.
So relatable, I think.
It really is. But her strategies are interesting. First, recognizing those thoughts are just normal brain activity. They happen.
But crucially, not letting them define her. Not identifying with them.
Exactly. It's like that cognitive behavioral idea, separating yourself from the thought. Have you ever tried just observing those thoughts without getting caught up?
It's harder than it sounds.
It is. And she also talks about actively seeking her happy place.
Simple things, right? Eating, sleeping, watching movies.
Yeah, ways to ground herself, to deliberately shift her focus.
Okay, moving on to her career. The tarot card was the Five of Wands. Competing energies, lots of interests.
Which just perfectly captures her situation, doesn't it? Acting on one hand, education on the other, English, emotional intelligence.
It's fascinating. Why competing, though? Why not just coexisting?
Well, I think practically they do compete. For time, for energy, there are only 24 hours in a day.
True. And committing fully to one means less time for the other.
And she's very aware of how juggling these might look to other people.
Right. She mentioned worrying about her actress persona affecting her credibility in education, especially with parents.
That's a valid worry, isn't it? People might have preconceived ideas.
What kind of assumptions do you think she was worried about?
Maybe that the arts are seen as less serious, or that a public figure isn't right for teaching. I don't know.
Could be.
But her realization was quite smart, I thought. She saw that her approach actually connects well with students her own age.
Because they're also multifaceted, not just one thing.
Exactly. They get her curiosity, her range of interests. It shows how being authentic can actually attract the right people.
That's a good point. Authenticity drawing in people who get it. Though I wonder, Does it risk putting off people who prefer more traditional boxes?
Possibly. But it also leads to the practical side, managing time.
Yeah, she has to choose. Prioritize projects. You just can't do everything.
Does she talk much about how she manages that juggle? Any specific tricks?
Not specific techniques, no.
Hmm.
But the fact she is managing suggests she's pretty disciplined about her schedule.
Must be. Making conscious choices about where her energy goes.
And it's not like the two fields are totally separate worlds for her.
No, she sees the connections, the synergies.
Like her English skills helping with potential acting roles.
Yeah, maybe English-speaking parts. Or her understanding of language helping shape characters.
Or even just being comfortable presenting herself from her education work. That could help in auditions, surely.
Definitely. And despite all this activity, she's really clear about university.
Yeah, prioritizing her education. She sees it as a real opportunity, appreciates it, even with the usual student pressures, the deadline chasing.
That firm stance, it really says something about her long-term view, doesn't it?
It does. She seems focused on deepening her work in acting and education, not immediately looking to jump into completely new things.
And her whole idea of success is interesting, too.
Finding happiness on the way,
Yeah.
not just at the destination.
Yeah. Which means small mistakes, like a typo or something, they don't really derail her sense of progress. It's about the journey itself.
That's quite a refreshing take, isn't it?
Yeah.
How do you measure progress in your own life? Is it the end goal or getting there?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think focusing on the process, like she does, probably leads to more day-to-day appreciation.
And for someone doing so much, it makes sense that sleep is a big deal for her.
A huge priority. She knows she needs it for her well-being and works on time management to actually get enough rest.
Something many of us struggle with, that constant battle for sleep.
Totally. And knowing her limits, prioritizing self-care like that, it shows real maturity. She also has this personal rule.
About only doing things she can commit to wholeheartedly.
Yeah, being sincere. Believing her imprint shows up in the work.
That commitment comes with trade-offs, though. She talked about social sacrifices.
Missing out on gatherings with friends because her art schedule is so unpredictable.
It's that classic ambition versus social life dilemma, isn't it? Can you relate to that?
Oh, for sure. It's a common juggle.
Right.
But she emphasizes her friends are really understanding and supportive.
That helps.
Definitely. And she also really values time with her family, especially her parents, feeling that unspoken support, particularly after the pandemic.
It's great to hear about her mom's support for her acting. Unwavering, apparently.
But with a condition, right? Tantum had to really understand her own choices.
Yeah, she'd give her parents presentations to explain things. I love that.
It shows such open communication, mutual respect. Her mom encouraged her to think it through, not just blindly accept.
Whereas her dad was initially more hesitant, worried about the downsides of the arts world.
Understandably so. But then he saw her commitment, saw the work was respectable.
And he came around. It shows how demonstrating your passion and responsibility can really shift perspectives, doesn't it? Sometimes showing is better than telling.
Absolutely. Seeing that genuine dedication makes a difference.
She also reflects quite a bit on the working world itself.
Right, how her childhood idea of work was maybe a bit romanticized.
Yeah, like thinking it would all be exciting all the time. I think many of us start out with that kind of rosy view.
And the reality hits, sometimes you have to do boring tasks. And filmmaking means crazy long hours.
That expectation versus reality gap. Very common.
But even with those challenges, her passion is still there. It's strong.
Maybe even stronger because of the challenges. The initial shine might wear off, but a deeper appreciation takes its place.
Yeah, overcoming hurdles can definitely deepen your connection to what you're doing.
It's also interesting how her interests have evolved. From modeling, then education, now acting too.
It's a reminder that it's okay for things to shift, isn't it? That exploration is part of it.
Totally, since she feels real passion gets tested by time.
Right. Like her involvement in education has lasted years, so it feels core to her identity now, maybe more than modeling did. Finding what really keeps you engaged long term.
And she reflects on how much she's changed since she was 16.
Big shift. From feeling like she knew everything.
Don't we all at 16?
To realizing how much there still is to learn. Becoming more cautious, maybe, but also trusting her instincts more. Her inner compass.
That's a huge shift, moving from certainty to nuance. Can you recall a similar point in your own life, maybe, that moved towards more of a growth mindset?
Oh, definitely. It's a key part of growing up, I think. Realizing you don't have all the answers, and that's okay.
Okay, let's talk relationships. The tarot card here was the Queen of Pentacles, abundance, emotional fulfillment.
Which seems to fit well with her mentioning she's in a happy 2-year relationship.
And when she talks about what she values in people, generally partners, friends,
Safety, kindness being valued, but also intellectual stimulation. People who challenge her offer constructive feedback. She wants growth from relationships, too.
it's interesting she mentions learning patience from her partner, partly due to an age gap.
Yeah, learning to understand nuances, the give and take of communication. She mentioned Yun but Chur.
Which means what, exactly?
It's like yielding or giving way in communication, not just compromising, but stepping back from your own view to really hear the other person, creating space for understanding.
That requires real effort.
It does. And she's quite self-aware about her ego, too.
How she can get frustrated more easily with those closest to her?
Yeah.
Because she feels secure.
Exactly. But she also says she's quick to see when she's wrong and values how understanding her loved ones are. That mix of honesty and accountability is vital.
And the bond with her mother sounds incredibly special.
Really touching, that unwavering patience and support, not just with school, but with her career.
The story about the fake crying on the live stream and her mom's gentle reaction just shows such deep understanding.
And how her mom shows love through actions, through just being there rather than lots of words. That quiet, constant presence.
So powerful. She doesn't regret specific words said, but more those moments of reacting badly out of frustration about other things.
Yeah, directing stress towards those safe relationships. It's a common pattern, and her being aware of it is significant.
And that sweetest memory she shared.
Her mother's nonverbal hug response. Just offering comfort, reassurance. It says so much about their connection without words.
Beautiful detail. So looking ahead, what's her feeling about the future?
Curiosity, mainly, about where her career in acting and education will go next. She's invested in both.
And the final tarot card, for her acting career specifically, was the Two of Swords, but reversed.
Right. Suggesting some potential disruption, maybe a need for self-reflection. Not bad necessarily, but uncertain.
The reading suggested she might still reach her acting goals, but it could involve some chaos, auditions, different kinds of roles.
Yeah, and that it's a good time for her to really think about what kind of acting she prefers. Maybe unexpected roles could pop up.
And her reaction to that.
Pretty pragmatic. She sees acting as having ups and downs, accepts that detours might happen. That flexibility is probably really helpful in that field.
Definitely. So, wrapping up the session itself, how did she feel about it?
She used words like surprising, especially her mom hearing the love life chat.
Ah, I can imagine.
And emotional,
Yeah.
mentioning some unexpected tears. But she saw it all as growth, really. Growth through being vulnerable.
That's a great takeaway. Letting yourself be vulnerable can lead to deeper understanding.
Absolutely. That self-awareness, that willingness to go there, it points to real personal development.
So, as we finish this deep dive on Nguyen Lam Thảo Tem, what really stands out is her resilience, right? Getting through tough times.
Definitely. And her ability to juggle these quite different passions, acting and education, and even find ways they feed each other.
The role of family support is obviously huge, too.
Massive. And just her overall thoughtful approach to growing, both personally and professionally, it's a really compelling picture of navigating life as a young person today.
Yeah, her openness and honesty about the struggles and the successes,
Yeah.
it offers a really valuable window, I think. A reminder that everyone faces bumps and there's strength in how you handle them.
Absolutely.
So maybe a final thought for you listening. Reflecting on Thảo Tem's journey, relying on that inner compass even when things get messy.
Oh.
What inner nudges might you be overlooking? And how could maybe embracing the unexpected lead to some surprising discoveries in your own life?
Something to ponder.
Indeed. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive.